The loser bracket match here, one of the quarterfinals of it. QuakeCon versus Spartie in map number 1, and almost getting a first frag straight away. QuakeCon very weak. He's got his preferred weapon of choice, but he's going to have to make something happen with this. We were already slightly critical this morning about what he's been able to do with it in the matches that we've seen, and now going against one of the top players of the tournament, top performers. Pressure is on.
Yeah, it really is, and at the early stages, of course, he hasn't got the ideal situation when it comes to the stack. He's feeling quite tentative, using the rail to try to bat Spartie away because he can't really challenge directly for the major items at the moment. So he needs to figure out what Spartie's going to take and sort of just hit these rails, which is really nice. And that's going to make that's going to change the decision making for Spartie to want to commit into an engagement pass. Because he knows QuakeCon's weak, so but those rails just keep him away for a little bit longer and give QuakeCon some extra breathing room to pick up some armor himself.
It's a very nice slow start. Looks like they're just feeling each other out a bit. First game of the day, or official match at least. A nice little rocket, though. There's going to go into quick engagement onto red armor. Maybe QuakeCon not so comfortable with the timing for it, and Spartie's just going to mow him down. First blood, and I was, just as I was starting my point of commentary, I was really actually hoping that QuakeCon would take it easy and not just rush onto a major item so soon. It was a little optimistic, I feel.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised he decided to go for the straight-up red challenge. I guess he liked the engagements. And the first two rockets were fantastic, but he sort of missed the follow-ups. But he would have needed another couple of perfect follow-ups because Spartie was so stacked. Just like you said, it's an interesting decision to go for that instead of continuing to play a little more passively. But perhaps also he felt like Spartie's been running these the entire map in the pattern quite well so far, so he wanted to throw a wrench into the works. But Spartie's just going to go for control against something that Spartie's quite well known for, is just robotic control. And he's going to be grabbing that yellow. Nice little rail there. That's going to make life very annoying for QuakeCon. He hasn't got much to work with at all.
But there's red over on the other side. QuakeCon, no, he can't quite grab it yet. And working through the teleporter, is Spartie able to take both majors? No, QuakeCon has grabbed the mega, but the rail shots that Spartie's been landing really reduces the sort of significance that mega has for QuakeCon.
Absolutely. I mean, Spartie's keeping him in check at the moment, and he's sort of setting himself up to, for him, you know, hopefully spring a trap to just kind of commit into a frag there against QuakeCon. Because again, QuakeCon's big issue yesterday was not converting on his control effectively, and Spartie realizes that, or would realize that, he needs to get frags against a player like QuakeCon when he has this stack advantage. But QuakeCon keeping him away even more, getting some significant damage actually. So now Spartie's going to have to play a little bit more cautiously. Mega pickup will help, but QuakeCon wants to go in for a quick little bit of damage there, and then through the teleporter. I like it.
And he's got position on the next yellow armor. Spartie going to have some smaller, very micro resources to work with. But this is the type of work that QuakeCon needs to be making in order to get himself in control, back on the board himself, and taking a charge. And that's going to be one rail taken, I believe, just there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, QuakeCon is very good that if he knows that he's not going to be in position to challenge for it directly, that he's going to hit rails like that. Because at least he gets rid of almost all of the red armor that Spartie picked up. So he's keeping Spartie low, and again, kind of waiting almost for that perfect moment to get the engagement. Spartie will pick up another yellow, so he'll be reinforcing himself. And now it's back to the red. I feel like we might get a big fight here. QuakeCon is very well positioned for it, straight out of the telly as well. And he's going to block Spartie into this red armor area, but he needs to do damage, and there he is, maybe thinking about it, but Spartie's going to get out of there.
Actually, Spartie got off pretty lightly on that occasion. Yeah. I think QuakeCon was very light in terms of the way he was attacking red armor, and this time he actually had the resources to justify a bit more aggression. But I guess there's a lot of respect coming out from these players for the time being. One more rail left from QuakeCon, another Spartie is railable, and he's going to want to back off just a little bit. Very close fight. QuakeCon almost getting on the board and tying the game up.
Yeah, I almost felt like QuakeCon could have gone in a lot harder in some of those engagements, and well, Spartie will escape, so we'll have to see if it's going to end up biting him in the backside. But I already feel like QuakeCon is playing a more considered game than we saw from him a couple of days ago, so this is encouraging. And I mean, it's just one frag hit for Spartie, despite the fact that he's going to recover all of his lost health in good time to be able to set up for some sort of pressure into red if he wants to. But QuakeCon obviously will be looking for that. There's not many items on the map, so a lot of focus there on red from QuakeCon. Spartie doesn't want to challenge directly. It seems like neither player, even when they're both in positions to do so, is really all that well, they're not really thinking about going for direct challenges just yet, keeping it very, very passive to open up the map.
I think this yellow might change. That just well, actually, it would have changed his decision. And as soon as you receive that rail, okay, actually, I'm not going to attack maybe so much. He's going to make a big jump onto the red armor. Samq's telling him that he can do that, but he's actually lost a significant amount of health and armor through that ordeal. And with that one frag lead, that's really fragile. He's got to be so careful not to give this one up too easily. Mega coming up in a second. He does get a rail out. Is that the Mega does spawn in time? His rockets aren't too bad. And the shotgun with the actual self-frag with the rockets. Unbelievable series of actions there.
And Spartie's just barely going to be able to get away there with 12 points of health, but he'll recover most of that. QuakeChillsen unable to follow up off of the spawn to punish him, being so weak, and almost actually beating him to the 50s. Spartie's in a lot of trouble, catching him with the LG. No escape for Spartie, and QuakeChillsen's essentially back to square one. He needs to get the tying frag hit. That would alleviate a lot of pressure and change the decision-making quite a lot for QuakeChillsen. He wouldn't have to be quite so aggressive, but right now he really needs to chase and get that extra frag when he has a position to do so. And with that red armor, he's going to be close to that. But he's going to be aware that with that Mega not being on the spot, the Spartie must have taken it. Yeah,
all those items spawned out at the same time. And Spartie did very well to get himself a Mega, get himself a yellow armor, and put him in good stead to defend that lead that he's managed to retain. And QuakeChillsen probably going to work his way over to that railgun relatively soon to play the long-range game. He wants to go for the red, but that's surely going to push him back a bit and make him replan his next move.
So we have QuakeChillsen taking a rail there from Spartie, and having to dodge quite a few angles there. He's really lucky actually that Spartie missed that shot, because he totally wasn't expecting that one, and he's going to get some extra damage there and have a good position to keep Spartie at bay. But Spartie's going to connect the rail. So finally that one rail is connected, and now QuakeChillsen's really weak actually, and Spartie's going to go in for the red. So does QuakeChillsen, but where is the health for him? He's got to get out of there. He finds himself at 25, but he's in a lot of trouble if Spartie decides to try to cut him off, and he gets another rail, but still QuakeChillsen is alive.
That was seriously brave from QuakeChillsen. In the whole red instance, he was so weak, but decided that he wouldn't give Spartie that respect. I think that's something that Spartie anticipated.
Yeah, I really enjoy how Spartie's playing the war of attrition, and then eventually a rail connects and QuakeChillsen dies. Now he's trapped in over at the Mega. Spartie though gets some damage. He wants to get that red armor. He knows he's already got 2 frags in the lead. So actually, did he?
He didn't get it. I think
he's gonna leave it up there for a little bit extra. Fair enough.
I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but yeah, he definitely needed those weapons as well, as he had run out of all kinds of ammunition. 2 frag lead though with 2.5 minutes left. Comebacks are difficult on this map, but it's only 2 frags, so it's definitely possible for QuakeChillsen if he's able to cobble together some more resources, get the weapons, and plan a decent attack. He has been taking a few risks in the recent moments of this game, but he might have to take even more heading into the next part.
Yeah, and I do like the approach here from Spartie, but look at his stack. He's so willing to just completely go for the committed play, and he gets a lot of damage, and he's happy with that. And again, I like this approach because he's playing the war of attrition. He keeps wearing QuakeChillsen down, doing too much damage over time, and QuakeChillsen just can't pick up enough, and eventually he'll take a bit of extra damage from one of those small engagements, and he'll just die as Spartie keeps going for it. But QuakeChillsen starts to finally trade some rails a bit better, and now Spartie's in a lot of trouble. But the Mega's coming up. Spartie perhaps not going for it. He's a little bit afraid now, wanted to go for the yellow, but QuakeChillsen predicted it.
QuakeChillsen's finally hitting some of these important rails, and it's at the right time in the game as on top of that, because he's got to start making that comeback. I think we're going to switch over to QuakeChillsen and see how he's going to start putting together this comeback. He's been found, almost gets the telefrag. Is he going to get the kill? He will get the telefrag anyway, and he is 1 frag away from tying the game up, but he has no idea when Mega's spawning. He's sitting, it's in the whole middle, there's no 10-second miss time or anything like that. He's given up red armor, and it looks like he's going to have some hard work all over again. Finds Spartie. Spartie's just playing with the plasma. Other rocket's going to be good enough. He has got no other, well, he had the other weapons, but he did not want to go for the rail. Not able to switch to it in time.
And the rockets were actually really good there, so he actually got Spartie down quite significantly.
He was on about 10 health, I think.
Yeah, he managed to recover some of his health, but there's no armor left on him. And QuakeChillsen, because of that, had the ability to just basically go for the red unchallenged, gets himself some more armor, and now he can try to finish off Spartie, but he has to connect the clutch shots. Looking for a rail angle. Spartie will deny him with the rockets, though. QuakeChillsen needs an angle. Barely just spotting Spartie for a second there as he tries to work out exactly what route Spartie's going to take. He's got to guess correctly, because he's got 40 seconds to make this happen.
I mean, I guess one more rotation of the items. Is that what he goes for? Red's up. Mega's up in just a second. Spartie, I wonder if he's going to try and brave it and go for a steal. QuakeChillsen, you're going to have to be very proactive now. That he misses the second rail. He has done some damage, and Spartie only has the yellow armor to his name. This is it. It's go time. That red is all he's going to get before he has to pick up that frag. Oh, my God, that little just pointless screen.
So 10 seconds.
What's he doing? Where the hell has Spartie gone?
He has vanished off the map.
K1llsen's left it too late, I think. Spartie, he's just hiding the map, listening to what he's doing, because K1llsen has to make so much noise. There's one rail, but that's simply not enough damage. Spartie holds on to his lead and takes a map advantage.
Yeah, really well played by Spartie to hide there, and I think we saw a really good display of skill from both players. The approach as well was a lot more conservative from Spartie, because Spartie was the guy that was in the driving seat, I think, for most of the map, and he didn't go too crazy. He was confident to say, I'm going to play actually a war of attrition strategy, and that relies on you actually hitting some of these long-range rails, and that's when that's when the strategy, that's the weakness of the strategy, basically, because if you miss one of those rails, then you give that player, maybe he'll just disappear for another 20 seconds, and then pick up some more armor, and then you get behind, and eventually he has a stack where he can challenge for a big item, and maybe you missed the window to frag him.
I think one of the really important moments at the end of the map for K1llsen is when he realized that he was sitting on mega health, and actually, I don't know when it is. Why am I stood here? The red's just been taken by Spartie, and because he was at the mega, he probably would have forced the spawn over there. And if he actually went to the red armor instead, then I don't think Spartie would have had anything to work with, and it would have increased the chances of him making that full comeback infinitely. Yeah,
and even, I mean, not taking it or not even getting the kill there, just having presence there so that he can get a lot of damage in, which he would have surely done, that would have been enough, because then he can control exactly where Spartie moves, and then he can control exactly, what items he decides to take and when he wants to take them. He gets a lot more control of the match, basically. So you're completely right. That one spot where he's like, oh, I'm actually not sure. My kind of mental picture of what's going on in the map is shaken. That could very well completely cost him the game, but it was a game which both players played pretty well in overall. And we're going to move into Bloodrun now. It's not exactly Spartie's favorite, but K1llsen is very proficient here, so this could be a very good way to get back into the series.
This is a map that K1llsen should definitely be winning, and right in 10 seconds time he is going to be getting a frag. I don't know what Spartie was really thinking just there, but he just launched himself at K1llsen and said, yeah, I'll just give you a freebie. Cheers.
And I doubt we'll see from Spartie the same kind of strategy that you see from Evil, which is just the rush down, especially because K1llsen, I mean, he's got so much health and armor, but those rockets were very nice from Spartie. K1llsen will be able to likely pick up this red. Spartie's actually sticking around maybe for a little bit too long there, and K1llsen lands a nice bit of extra damage. Spartie's going to get the yellow.
Ouch.
Oh, that is painful. Just 100 damage there from that rocket.
It's nice he's not even killing him straight away so that he can get the rest of the items. Now if he's able to get the frag in the next 5 seconds, then he's going to be looking good to just retain control for a couple more rotations at least. That Spartie's not shown his face, but he might be able to get the items anyway, in fact. Ah, what a read.
So there it is, K1llsen picks up the red. And Spartie's just playing the classic defensive game, but he might just be getting caught here, pushed into the corner. Benny makes it through the teleporter. The flick shot missed by K1llsen, and perhaps the opportunity for the frag missed as well. He's going to have to take it easy there. Took a little bit too much damage, so he's got to play passively, stack up again. But the good thing is, though, is that Spartie is unlikely to go for a direct challenge on an item himself, because he is also quite weak, and he doesn't want to give up any more of a lead to K1llsen. One frag can be quite a lot on this map, and sometimes it's enough.
I'm actually surprised what K1llsen did before. He was very aggressive, instead of maybe going for the items, which has kind of put a bit of a question mark in terms of the control. You can see at the top left, Spartie has acquired a lot of armor himself, and although he hasn't challenged yet, I think maybe this next mega is going to be something that K1llsen's going to have to be very careful about, if Spartie's got a good understanding of the timing.
Yeah, and Spartie has been showing that he's willing to play very patiently against K1llsen. I wonder if this is a specific matchup choice, because Spartie has a lot of tools to play a very strong aggressive game as well, and he does do that against certain players. But it is Bloodrun as well. I think the situation does call for this style, so I really like how Spartie's playing it. But K1llsen will continue to run the items. Also, if Spartie looked at some of the demos from the other day of play, then he'll realize that K1llsen in control has been having problems. But this is a huge fight right now. The mega is so far away from spawning. Spartie really caught out of position there, and if the mega was spawning now and the fight would just start, it would make sense. But Spartie, maybe a bit of an error there.
I think, was that a 10-second mistime or something from that?
I think so,
that's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
He's managed to get to the mega straight after K1llsen did land a rail. I wonder if Spartie's able to get himself that top yellow on top of that and actually make his way towards the comeback. There's done some fantastic damage. Has Spartie got anything else he can use? K1llsen has to fall back anyway, even though he's only going against the machine gun. Oh, the slam dunk with the rocket. That is now 3-0. Spartie felt that he was so weak, but he just couldn't do anything. And K1llsen's making some decent reads as well.
Yeah, really frustrating. If he had maybe 2 or 3 different weapons, he could have gotten the kill there, except the machine gun. but obviously being fresh off the spawn, it just wasn't going to happen. So Mega is up. You see QuakeCon a little bit tentative, not quite sure about this. The red is up as well, actually, so it's a bit of a guessing game between the two players. Obviously going for the Mega, if you could possibly do it, is better because you can keep the pressure on the red. Spartie goes for it. A full 100 damage, a direct landed there to get the frag from QuakeCon. Spartie's been taking a lot of straight up rockets to the face, and it's not getting any better. 5-0 now with 4 minutes played, and that's... I mean, it's going to be tough actually for Spartie to get back in this, because if he decides to play it slow from this point, which a lot of players would try to do so, then he might only have 1 or 2 more chances to get back into this one with a 5-0 lead on this map.
Do you not find the contrast between how Spartie's playing versus QuakeCon now compared to how Spartie played versus Rafa on day 1 of QuakeCon? It's
a lot more pressure.
Day and night.
Yeah, it's completely different.
And I don't think Spartie's just, maybe it's just a clash of playstyles. He's not able to get the sort of same successes against QuakeCon on this map. It just does not seem to, he's not got that same flair here.
Yeah, a lot of it is about knowing your enemy, and well, QuakeCon's going to find Spartie again. Spartie actually able to keep himself alive and actually push QuakeCon away. Spartie, if he is able to land on one of these rails, he could really send QuakeCon into kind of a horrible spot, and Spartie could have the space to actually take control of a lot of items, but he's not able to do so, and QuakeCon gets back onto the RA. So a red for him means that he's going to have a pretty decent challenge on the Mega health. But if Spartie is going to stick around and land some good damage, it's very possible that he could do something here. But he's going to take a very passive approach, going for another drop-down rail. Connects another one, but still, QuakeCon's okay. He's going to shake that one off and he's pick up the Mega instead.
Yeah, that Mega's effectiveness has been reduced a little bit, but he is landing rails himself. That is 2 now. Spartie, he can't take too much more damage. He grabs the health bubbles, but his LG is really on point at the moment. 31 health, 26 health from QuakeCon. He is going to have to run away a little bit. Spartie, maybe this is the time that he can make that comeback. He's grabbed himself the lower yellow, and QuakeCon sheepishly wanders over to the red. We don't think he felt 100% safe doing that, but maybe now he's able to bandage himself up and hold on to that lead.
And he will actually catch Spartie again. It seems like QuakeCon's often catching Spartie, which is good, because if you remember that matchup against FaZe, I believe it was, FaZe was catching QuakeCon off guard constantly on this map, and QuakeCon seems to have a much better read overall as to how Spartie's moving and playing around the map. So it really does feel like he's woken up quite considerably since a couple of days ago, and he's looking pretty confident right now.
Well, the pressure's definitely on him on this map as well. It's his pick. He would definitely expect a win, and actually executing and making that happen is harder than it seems. And yeah, indeed, living up to that pressure.
So just waiting for his opponent to make a move. Some grenades will give away Spartie's position. QuakeCon looking for one of those rails. And will Spartie be able to actually go for a challenge here on the red? He's going for it. Oh, no. Nice flick rail there from QuakeCon to send Spartie just down towards the rail without any red armor to speak of. That red is still up there for QuakeCon.
I get the feeling that this last 4 minutes, it should be easy enough for QuakeCon to hold on to this. He's always been putting the damage in at the right time before Spartie's able to properly challenge for a big item. He's got all the info now that he needs, and he's going to land a solid vertical rail. He's going to go for another as well. He doesn't even want to switch to maybe what would be a more favorable weapon in that circumstance. Rail is his, well, masterpiece.
Yeah, it's the tool of the trade for QuakeCon. And Spartie's dancing around the pillar, but in comes the very scary QuakeCon. Quick flick of the shotgun is going to discard Spartie for the 8-0 scoreline. And with 3 minutes left, things are starting to look quite hopeless here on Bloodrun. But for the Spartie fans, they wouldn't be too worried, because everybody who knows Spartie well knows that he does not like this map.
Yeah.
So that's okay. He probably would have expected to drop this against QuakeCon.
I would imagine he'd be dropping Hektik against him, most likely, but I could be wrong on that. I've not had that confirmed. And yeah, QuakeCon is just picking up frag after frag. Spartie, obviously at this point, he feels like he's got to be aggressive and do something crazy and even get a bit lucky to get anywhere near what QuakeCon's got at the moment. So we could see the frag extension continue.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good because, again, QuakeCon, yesterday he played a slow style when he was in control, and he, more than one player, FaZe was one of them, was able to exploit that, able to move in kind of the gaps of QuakeCon's knowledge and surprise him quite often, and it looked as though QuakeCon was struggling to find ways to make frags when he had the control and convert on it. But here against Spartie's been doing that quite effectively, and it's not been anything too special as well. He's making some basic reads from the fact that he has control, he knows where Spartie, all the options for Spartie, and he reads them quite well. and he's hitting his shots. He just looks a lot more solid overall, better fundamentals. So this is encouraging because as we kind of highlighted in the pregame there, QuakeChillsen is a guy that can run to the finals of a tournament just as Spartie can.
What I'm worried though about QuakeChillsen is, sure, he's playing very well here, which is the game that he really is meant to win, but can he continue that pace in maps where Spartie isn't completely allergic to the environment? He needs to be performing through the rest of the series at this level, or at least in order to keep it close when Spartie is feeling a bit better on the other maps.
Yeah, it's so far it is quite worrying, but it's okay. I think it'll be okay actually.
We said 3-1. This is obviously the one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the other two that I'm worried about.
What would you like to see? What would be the maps that you'd like to see for these two guys?
That's a good question. I think a Furious Heights or Sinister would be pretty good fun, but honestly, any environment
anything but this.
Be best. Anything but this right now. Yeah, this one's not going well. Spartie is, I don't know. He's keen for that clock to count a little faster, but yeah, QuakeChillsen is just absolutely wrecking him at the moment.
Yeah, we can expect him to maybe even throw in the towel and call out the GG.
I think that's it.
There it is, yeah.
It's over, it's over. It went down to -1 there just by forfeiting at the end, but you can see QuakeChillsen hitting a lot of shots right there. 54% algae and rail. That's, yeah, just incredible amount of damage. Incredible amount of control with only 1 red and 1 mega going over to Spartie during the entire game. Spartie definitely not feeling the same on Bloodrun against QuakeChillsen as he did versus Rafa, where he got that sort of wonder victory.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, there's a lot of maps now that are going to be very confident for Spartie. We're actually going to be moving into Elder, which is pretty awesome because we have seen quite a few games on here so far, and the unique dynamic essentially. Okay, okay, Sinister is going to Sinister, so okay, well maybe we'll get Elder later on, but this time to talk about Sinister then.
This is going to be Spartie's map pick, so he's going to feel a little happier here. It's actually not too indifferent to Bloodrun. I'd say actually even slower a map.
Yeah, it can be, absolutely. I definitely compare it most to Bloodrun, actually.
And we're starting off on QuakeChillsen, guys. This is map 3. We have got essentially a best of 3 remaining between these guys, as they've both won their first maps. And Spartie definitely want to get this one in the bag as his pick. And QuakeChillsen spots him, but unfortunately rockets himself a little bit and doesn't get the job done as he wishes. And that red should be up in just a couple of seconds' time, and it will appear on the timer board. QuakeChillsen being a little bit careful because the splash rockets can hurt a fair amount. Nice, a little aggressive push, and Spartie is going to have to back the hell off. He's got a lower yellow. I wonder if Spartie will fill up to the space. He is actually going to go on the mega. It spawns in a couple of seconds' time, and QuakeChillsen's going to have to get out of there. 13 health left, and the rail comes out. Spartie actually doesn't wait at all. I believe QuakeChillsen was expecting Spartie to fall back for that mega much sooner. Falls victim to that rail. That was excellent play from Spartie. The fight, again, this is some things we saw from him earlier in the tournament where he made those surprise attacks on Mega Health, where you're not really certain that he would have the courage to do it. And QuakeChillsen definitely caught with his pants around his ankles.
Yeah, it's a really nice start for Spartie, and this is what he needed to get things off on the right track right from the beginning. And he hears QuakeChillsen walking around in that water. Not going to go through the tally, though. It's a very good way to take a lot of damage. Nice connection there. That's a fantastic rocket jump to rail snipe with QuakeChillsen just picking up the RA as well. So after taking the mega himself, he's going to be setting himself up for a bit of an engagement. With that said, he took a rail himself, and he's going to realize that QuakeChillsen's not too far away from his tag, but that helps.
We've got that sort of twitchy aim coming out from Spartie, but he's hitting some fantastic shots at the moment. It's really keeping QuakeChillsen at bay and allowing him to stabilize after getting that leading frag. I didn't expect QuakeChillsen there, but he missed the drop-down rail. 5 seconds left to Mega. He makes it through the choke point, and QuakeChillsen's going to have to Scarper. Looking for another rail. Can't quite land that one through the bars.
So this is going to be, I think, probably a very, very slow one as well. As you alluded to, this map does or can often be quite slow. But the way they're trading here, no one wanting to commit. That said, Spartie rocket jumping into the LG. Can he escape here? He's got 88 health, 1 rail. We'll put him down to 8, and there it is. But he's able to get out of there. But actually, fortunately for him, there's no mega immediately. So because QuakeChillsen would be, I think, have been able to beat him to the punch, and that would be really problematic. Spartie has some time to get some items here, to just get some health going, so that he can get some pickups somewhat safely. But
you get there, though. I mean, there's a lot of items. The two yellows are up already. Both the major items are going to be up. I believe he would have heard that Mega just being taken, and he's thinking, okay, it's safe, I can get there. He's going to go for the red. That's very brave, and he's going to make it. K1llsen's completely neglected that item. I would have thought he could make it through the teleporter a bit faster, but I believe he opted to go to the top yellow and just, well, he either paused and didn't go in advance.
So that, yeah, that's really interesting because you would never expect Spartie to pick up that red there.
Yeah, that was very brave and a very opportunistic play, but it worked out for Spartie, and that's going to allow him to get back to a more comfortable position after he essentially dived on K1llsen's LG over in that red room a bit earlier. And he's gotten to the Mega. What has K1llsen done? He's just completely relinquished all control that he's had and allowed Spartie to do whatever he likes. I find this very odd. But again, this is the room where K1llsen did much better beforehand. Spartie's taken a bit of damage, and K1llsen should really assert himself a little more and say, right, take control back. You're still able to contest this with these level of resources being shared.
Yeah, he's really let Spartie back into the map here. And Spartie being the guy with the lead, that's not necessarily how you want to do it. And Spartie will be able to pick up the next yellow. He's got the Mega coming up as well. So K1llsen's going to stay on this. He wants to challenge for it, but he's going to get dropped on by Spartie. Spartie's damage is great, actually, pushing K1llsen away. And K1llsen now is in a spot where he's at risk of dying in the next engagement.
These are sort of just genius little pushes from Spartie, or drops onto Mega. He saw that K1llsen he didn't have the LG, he had rockets, so he thought, well, the chance of him hitting an air rocket are much less likely, but almost gets hit by one himself. That was very good damage by K1llsen, extremely important. As we probably both thought, that he looked as if he was about to lose control after that Mega fight. Wow, another nice rail. Spartie on 16 health, having to heal up a bit. And it's almost a deja vu from earlier. I wonder, though, is K1llsen going to have a tighter grip of those major items? Like he's ducking by the window. No, he didn't realize that K1llsen was going for the jump. He thought he'd go through the teleporter, and we've got the tying frag now.
Yeah, really nice by K1llsen, and some of the mistakes that you could argue that he's made are made up for by the consistent damage output that he's able to throw onto Spartie, and that's where it pays off. And nice engagement here for K1llsen. Should be able to finish him off with no problem indeed. 2-1 now. K1llsen will take the lead, and this is a really important map because it's a great map for both players. And of course, both players have one map already, so to get one in the lead in this very close series would mean a great deal. And Spartie, he's going to be the victim of the flick rails. K1llsen, like a god from above, dealing down the pain, and he will miss the follow-up, but still, Spartie is in bad shape.
He's going to be happy he didn't take another rail, though. And going for that red steal, I think that's Spartie having really solid timing, realizing that actually 3 seconds between Mega and red. K1llsen just about doesn't have enough time to get to the red armor with this easy angle, if he's able to get the item. Oh my god, Spartie, again, he just pushes through the choke point. Like, K1llsen, almost no respect given whatsoever from Spartie. He almost made some more magic happen there, but K1llsen just about holds on to it. I do not think that was comfortable at all for the German whatsoever. Spartie laying down the pressure a bit further. Off the spawn, is he going to be able to do anything with this? K1llsen's just about to get back on the items and back into a more comfortable position.
Yeah, I think you're right. K1llsen didn't. I don't think he expected that at all. It's like, okay, sure, Spartie's going to show us that. Wait, why is he trying to fight me? And you can see inside to kind of jerk his mouse a little bit more enthusiastically, with a bit of anxiety perhaps, as Spartie was so convinced, so confident in that engagement. But great time from Spartie. Oh, he's going to pick it up though. He gets back on it, and this could be problematic. But nice air rocket to finish him off. But that could have gone pretty badly there for K1llsen. But he's going to save it. 5-1 now. He's really making inroads into a very nice scoreline.
Spartie's been doing a couple of things this map, which we typically recognize. Wow, what a
wow. All right, then.
We typically recognize as the Quake 101 things you shouldn't be doing. Sitting on items like he was a moment ago, rushing through choke points. The thing is, most of the time he's either made it work or very nearly made it work, so it's hard to criticize his technique. But he's going to have to be careful, because I think the amount of times he's done something like this, it's going to start becoming a bit more predictable. And K1llsen's got a pretty well padded lead at this point.
And I don't think Spartie has any idea where K1llsen is, and K1llsen realizes that. That's why he's walking around, hoping that maybe Spartie would even potentially double back. But he's going to catch him, actually. Spartie not knowing where K1llsen was, and K1llsen gets a perfect rocket engagement to even further pad out his scoreline. 6-1 now. Things getting away from Spartie with 2.5 minutes left. That is not a good place to be in, and I'm starting to wonder how he's going to even come back into this.
I mean, he's got to do some damage before he goes into these rooms. He's been going in for a lot of just immediately committing to the close range fights. He's got to get some of those rail shots landed first and do something. I like this jump from K1llsen. just in case Spartie felt as if he wanted to peek and see when the red armor would be taken, or if QuakeChellsen's in that area. But with that 200, QuakeChellsen should surely be looking good for at least another couple of rotations.
Oh, and he once again has a drop on Spartie, quite literally, as he jumps on in, and Spartie is going to not have the health and armor to contest, and that's going to be the mega health picked up by QuakeChellsen as well as an extra frag. So yeah, he's looking like he's in the groove at the moment, and that's scary because this is not the QuakeChellsen we saw on the first day of Quake Live Duel. This is a much more improved QuakeChellsen. I mean, you said that we hadn't really seen his rail work, but we're actually starting to get real glimpses of that.
It's definitely happening now. I think actually that Bloodrun game helped his confidence so much, and I think Spartie's getting a bit frustrated here. We're going to get 8 minutes, 24 seconds forfeit there. Spartie, although he looks like he's dressed for Arctic conditions, I think he needs just 1 second, as you can see from the chat.
Also going into the Texas heat.
Yeah, quite, and he's going to burn up if he stays there for longer, about 10 seconds. So, as do all of us.
Yeah, I think it's like 40 degrees or something outside, Celsius.
Something's happened with Spartie. He's not really. It's also some of the decision making is maybe not making as much sense. He's not connecting the same amount of shots, but QuakeChellsen's been hitting pretty much everything that's been important. And that's something that we've missed from the previous day. It's something that we even missed in the first map on Battleforged, I think. We started to see a bit of that confidence come out in the last couple of minutes of the map, but he wasn't able to actually catch up and tie the game up to try and contest for that victory himself. But 2-1 up for QuakeChellsen. That's already blowing out our predictions a little bit. Really didn't expect QuakeChellsen to get into this kind of shape, as we know he cares so much about this, and he's had some support from the community to get him to this point. And I felt that he's been feeling the pressure a little bit from that side, because obviously you've got external expectations. But things are settling in. His nerves, he's worn it out. It's like leather shoes or something. He's worn it in, etc. Yeah,
I mean, it's great actually with QuakeChellsen, because he. Back in the days of the Intel Extreme Masters, when we had like a really big Quake Live circuit, he was a player that I felt like I wanted to see more from him, and I thought that felt like there was more to see from him. And I think there was some spots where I think maybe even maybe he played Street Mania. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if he played a little bit here or there, but I feel like he was always kind of teetering in and out of I just missed playing at a really high level at something competitive like Quake. I really miss that, and so it's really great to see that he's still around and he's still actually able to deliver to the level and the standard that we actually expect from him, because it's very easy. I mean, if there aren't a lot of tournaments, and he's got a wife and kids, I believe. So so he's got a pretty full life going on, but he's still able to actually hit this kind of form. That's pretty impressive. I don't know how he does that, but clearly, again, he misses the competition. It's great to see him back, and a real threat to Spartie, who similarly really wants this. And Spartie historically as well tends to have his best tournaments or some of his best results at QuakeCons. Actually, it tends to be kind of a special event for him in that sense.
No, absolutely. And these are two players who, more often than not, are actually still remaining quite active in the online tournament circuit as well. So although they're not sort of practicing hard day after day for 6 hours each, they're still getting the time in, playing the games competitively, and actually getting some matches, and not forgetting how that sort of competitive spirit feels like. Even though it's not a LAN environment necessarily, you're still competing against trying to beat evil essentially. So.
Yeah, beating evil is no simple task. Hopefully, Spartie's managing to warm himself up. I think he's outside still, running around. I would assume.
I think just do a couple of press-ups or something, just get the pumping a bit, and he's going to be looking decent. We are going to be looking at just the schedule and brackets very quickly, so you can see what to expect a little later on. We will be having Rafa versus Evil next, which is going to be the winner bracket final. So that one's something that people are expecting to see them both in the grand final once again. I'm not sure what your expectations are for Rafa versus Evil, but just before I ask further, after that we will be having the winner of Spartie QuakeChellsen versus the winner of Phrase and 04. And following that will be the winner of those collective matches going against the loser of Rafa versus Evil, when later we'll meet that grand finals in the end. I believe that Phrase versus 04 is happening right this moment as well on the twitch.tv/QuakeCon2 stream. But what are your thoughts though on the whole Evil Rafa? I haven't been able to see much of their practice at all. In fact, it's been pretty much kept away from me for this time, and my expectations are very hazy.
Honestly, they are the two best-looking players, and as expected. And I think we just got Spartie back on his PC, so he might be actually kicking off this one quite soon. But yeah, I mean, those are the two players that look the best. And it has always been since Rafa kind of figured out Evil, the idea that, you know, Evil against Rafa, he can't just do him. He has to actually start to think about this opponent specifically, because I feel like Evil very much is just all about imposing his game style onto other players. And for some people, or rather for some styles, for some types of player, it actually is quite easy to play against your styles. If you don't have the if you can't adapt very easily to other opponents who've worked you out, you can lose matches you shouldn't lose. And I know there's a lot of players that have run into that problem in the past, and I think that's why we're seeing such a different style from Spartie when he's playing K1llsen specifically. He plays a much more of a war of attrition, which interestingly I would say is actually a strength for both players in a way that K1llsen does prefer to play, but I feel like it's also less risk and more consistent. So Spartie's obviously confident in that approach. This is going to be a great map to see how things go. Obviously, Spartie's a map down against K1llsen now. K1llsen has 2 to the 1 of Spartie. Here we go.
Yep, this is K1llsen's map pick as well, so Spartie's really going to have to pull something out of the bag here to get the win to happen. Nice the decision-making there from K1llsen, and making sure that he does not run into Spartie immediately, but hits a solid rocket as Spartie jumps around. Spartie going to have to be very careful at this point. He's just hopping all over the place, doing little to no damage. K1llsen's run out of rockets. He is able to defend himself a bit with the plasma gun. Spartie's going to be pretty weak at this point, but he's taken him down to 2 points of health. K1llsen looking for the 50 health bubble and just about makes it. Spartie will be able to get the items at the bottom of the map. That should be red for him, and rail as well. I wonder, though, if he wants to try and challenge for Mega immediately. If he's going for the railgun, it's probably not going to happen. But oh, he gets the timing at least. I think that's important enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That just having the timing, it just gives you this mental picture of the map and how it works, what your opponent knows. And the more that you, have to hold that thought, because we're going to have another engagement here on top of the red armor. Spartie is going to be the victim. I think he was just expecting to get a bit of pressure, expecting K1llsen to be down below as the red was spawning. And then he could maybe get some position on Mega, but no, K1llsen was up there, he was ready for it, and he'll get the frag, the first frag that he set up oh so long ago.
Spartie trying to play a little bit quickly at the moment. Or maybe you would have expected him to stay at the top of the rail room just to listen out for the red timing as well. It just feels as if he's playing a bit of an impatient style for now. We've still got 2 seconds left until the red's coming up. Spartie going to continue to try keeping him at bay. He's done some fairly decent damage, but what is he actually winning in this instance? Can he get to that yellow? It's going to be absolute suicide if he does that. And Spartie's just got a pillar to hide behind. Can he escape? He's desperately trying to and will just about make it. Red and Mega will spawn together next, but Spartie's just got to survive until that point, which does not look as if it's going to be happening. 2-0 for K1llsen. Uh-oh. It's going to get a little bit worse for him. Spartie's going to go down once again. He's going to try and force the spawn into Mega. Not going to be able to make it happen, I think. Moved quickly enough for Spartie to probably spawn around the rail area.
Yeah, that was quite interesting, actually. I mean, K1llsen was having real problems getting the initial kill there in the last frag against Spartie, and I was surprised how much damage Spartie was doing, but then Spartie just kind of kept fighting him. It just kept happening. He just kept going back in again for these engagements. And, well, you're going to die if you're going to do that against a guy with more stack and more guns. And Spartie's going to try to trap K1llsen here as he jumps across. And, again, he does get some damage in, but he's just not really doing enough. And you can see that K1llsen's going to read him quite well. Expected him to be through that choke point, and K1llsen will pick himself up some more armor after grabbing the frag and just continue along his merry way, just running control.
K1llsen's reading the double backs as well. I mean, Spartie's trying this quite a lot at this point, just trying to keep himself in the fight and hoping that K1llsen's just going to break away, go to an item, but they're always just patient, just waiting a little bit longer and reading each other in those circumstances. And these guys that have been playing quite a lot online together ahead of QuakeCon, so they're going to know each other's playstyle so well. And right now, K1llsen really feels as if he's making much stronger reads.
Yeah, his confidence is really turning up a notch, starting up a notch, and Spartie, I think to some extent he is a little bit frustrated. I think he, of course, he took the break there, so he's obviously trying to refocus himself, and he needs to bring this back immediately because it is really starting to get away from him. 4-0 is a very scary scoreline to be up against when you've lost so many maps against K1llsen already in the series. So he's got to be very, very cautious that he doesn't make this worse for himself. And the pressure is really on top of Spartie pretty hard at the moment.
Yeah, it's such a weird contrast as well from the first map where he looked like he was making some fantastic decisions. to get himself in the lead and to win that map. And since then, it's been downhill. He's jumped off a cliff, essentially, in terms of performance. Going up now versus a 200 QuakeCon. Spartie did just take a red, which should help him live a little longer. But QuakeCon's playing he's still playing a very slow game himself, despite being in full control of the map. And is Spartie just behind there, or am I just
yeah, I think you're right. Pretty sure you're right, actually. Yeah, there he is. There he is, just popping out. And I mean, QuakeCon missed him as well. But he's going to get the damage in, and more importantly, he's locked away. And this is great because QuakeCon can just... This is a nice little spot where you can buy a lot of time for yourself if items are very far away from spawning, or just get the follow-up frag in its entirety. But did the spawn work out favorably here for Spartie? Looks like he won't be able to grab the Mega.
That was actually very close. QuakeCon almost got himself killed at that point. There's going to be plasma for Spartie. He tries to jump back, but runs into the pillar. Still doing good damage to QuakeCon, but Spartie's health is so low. His armor's so high, but he is going to be dropped to the floor from rockets in the sky.
This is really unfortunate here for Spartie. He just can't quite get out of there after doing all these all the damage and putting the pressure on QuakeCon. Every time QuakeCon just barely finds a way to finish the kill. And again, it's a really nice contrast on how QuakeCon was playing on the Quake Live, on day one of QuakeCon 2016, where it seemingly he looked very indecisive and he couldn't make anything out of his control. This is completely the opposite. He's really patched up that area of his game.
And one thing that QuakeCon told me is that if FaZe does beat 0-4, he really wants to make sure he gets that revenge match versus FaZe from when they played in the winner bracket final. So I think he'd like to definitely state his claim on saying that actually, FaZe, I am better than you.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty beautiful to see, because I can really understand the kind of frustration that he would have of losing a match like that. Yeah. But Spartie's going to be caught on the drop there, actually doing great damage. But QuakeCon, again, is just steadily landing shots after shot. Oh, we get a frag going both ways there.
Spartie arguably getting a little better spawner there. He's managed to get himself up to that Mega very quickly. Can he do some damage on red? QuakeCon, he's just in the middle of nowhere. He could have probably dropped back and got the item himself as he had a little bit of a kerfuffle. Spartie's also delaying the red, so I like this. He's trying to think about the items, and he's not getting flustered at all from what's been a pretty disasterful game for him these first 6 minutes.
Yeah, that was actually amazing that he didn't... I thought when QuakeCon popped him up out of LG that he was going to be dead every time. I have no idea how Spartie managed to land the rockets himself during that, got to get the frag. And as you say, I love the cognizance there, not making sure that the red and the Mega don't clash. And this is the reward. Spartie's in great control here, great stack. They're in time for the red. QuakeCon can't pick it up. QuakeCon will get out of there, but Spartie's really going to feel the pressure with just 3 minutes left to play, that he has to make the kill happen pretty soon here. And I mean, he has to recover 5. That is a lot of frags on this map.
He's pushing through choke points again. That choke point right there is one that you should never be going through. He's hitting a couple of very important rails. Can he get another 3 rails in a row from Spartie? He's turning the heat up a bit. Needs to hit one more shot. The red is going to be up. He can't quite land it. With 9 points of health left, he'll get the Mega, but that's pretty much bringing him to starting stack. And he's got no armor that he can take. QuakeCon's still got a lot to work with.
Here he goes. He's going to get caught by QuakeCon again by the YA. QuakeCon's going to know that he's quite low, but QuakeCon himself is not on a huge amount of stack here, so if Spartie just hits some nice shots with the rail, he's going to be in good stead to maybe be able to survive at the very least. And in fact, QuakeCon would prefer to just not take the risk. Sit on this lead, just go for the guaranteed play, which is picking up the items. And this is great pressure from Spartie. He has to get the damage in here. He's got to do something. And the rockets are good. Misses the flick rail. And QuakeCon gets the follow-up. 8-2 now. And Spartie is desperate.
Oh, this is so solid from QuakeCon. He's been playing absolutely excellently. Any minor mistake, he's quickly following up with some extremely solid play. He knows that Spartie's got to take this massive risk himself. He wants to make up this huge frag deficit. 9-2 at this point, and it is looking pretty bleak for the Swede.
Yeah, to say the least, it's. I mean, it must be very frustrating for him in this position. You need big risks for the big rewards, and that risk is not going to work out straight into the rail of QuakeCon, which has been on point. And there it is.
That is it.
10-1. Spartie is going to lose against QuakeCon. Actually, a 3-1, but in the way we didn't expect. QuakeCon's actually going to take this. I'm actually really impressed by how he stepped everything up.
Yeah, he looked like a completely different player on day one. He's definitely regained that confidence a bit. He felt that this is a matchup that he can win. Recently online, he feels as if he's always had the edge, but we haven't had the confidence ourselves to really believe in QuakeCon, given the performances that we've already seen from him. So massive congratulations to him. Unfortunately for Spartie, he is going to be eliminated from the tournament in 5th, 6th place. And what we're going to be finding out soon is whether or not we're going to be getting a 0-4 or if we're going to be getting Fraze going up versus QuakeCon in a moment.
I think we should also be getting an interview at some point as well. So